If the kettlebell snatch is a painful and uncomfortable exercise for you and leaves you with bruised and sore wrists every time you do it, you're going to want to watch today's video. Forrest Vance here from kettlebellbasics.net. In today's part 2 of our kettlebell snatch technique series, I'm going to show you one simple trick to make the kettlebell snatch safer, less painful, and more effective. So let's dive right into this one. Now, I highly encourage you to go back and watch part 1 of this little tutorial that we did. I'll do a very quick review. But what we did was a learning progression. And the first thing I covered is I said, make sure that you have your kettlebell swing form down. One of the number one things that I do see with this exercise is people try to rush it and they try to go into doing snatches without really having their form down on their swings. And that ends up creating problems because we really want to be able to make sure that we can hinge properly, make sure that we can get the bell to float properly, make sure that on our one arm swings, we're able to pack our shoulder the right way, and the movement's flowing, and that we're using our hips and doing the right things in our swing, because the snatch is really just an extension of the swing, right? It's the same pattern. It's a longer movement. The bell obviously ends up over my head instead of in front of my shoulders. But if you took a snapshot of me at the bottom of the movement, it would look very similar here at what I'm doing a swing versus here I'm doing the snatch. So our high pull progression. We do a one arm swing, we do a high swing, and we do a high pull. And again, I go into this in more detail in the last video, but I'm just going to do one really fast, just a demo, because this relates to what we're going to talk about today. So, one arm swing, high pull. I skip the one arm, the high swing. The high swing's up here. The high pull is where we pull it into our body. And then the next step is the snatch. And so in today's tip, what we see a lot of times is people transition from that swing to the snatch. And even when we go through this learning progression, the whole intention is to get you to start to bring the arc of the bell into you a little bit before it comes around and you finish off at the top. Let me see if I can adjust my camera just slightly. You can see my hands here a little bit here. So when this bell comes around and you flip around and finish at the top, a lot of times what happens is you get this thing where the bell, I don't even really want to do it, comes around and it crashes on your wrist and it hurts. And you have this workout, like I remember I did this snatch workout, one of the first ones I did with kettlebells. It was like 50 snatches or something total. And my wrists were just like totally black and blue. I was like, I guess it's supposed to be like this. Well, little did I know, it's not supposed to be like that. If your kettlebells are bruising your wrists, that's a bad sign. You need to improve your form. So the trick I want to share with you today is instead of being tentative about that kettlebell coming over the top and just waiting for it to come over and smash you in the wrist, be aggressive about getting your hand through the bell. So you need to go here, do that progression that we did last time if you want to, but then when that bell comes around to practice, remember it's one arm swing as our progression, high pull, and then from the high pull, I just do this little punch through with my hand. So instead of waiting for it to come around and being tentative about coming over the top, if I was like, I learned this, and I can't remember who I heard it from, although I would give them credit, but it was a Strong First certification somewhere along the way. They said, if you're like that excited kid in class, you're going to raise your hand really fast. And that's what you should feel like. Your arm should be punching through that handle of the kettlebell. So I should be here, punch through, punch through, punch through. And that tip, a lot of times, will help you minimize the impact because you're bringing your hand, you're bringing your arm to the bell actively instead of just sitting there and waiting for it to come around and smash you in the wrist. So there's your tip for today. That's part 2 in our snatch series. Go back and watch part number 1 again if you're starting from scratch, making sure that you got the swing, do the high pull, the swing, high pull progression. Part 3, we did our punch. Part 2, today. Part 3, we're going to actually do the flip. So stay tuned. Next week, we'll cover here. Now, there's a whole separate technique about getting from here to here and coming back to the top. Because we got to get this bell flipping. It's called the gooseneck out of the top, so we can reverse that motion and end up in a non-strong snatch position at the top. So hope you liked the video. Come back and check us out. Website's kettlebellbasics.net. Facebook page is facebook.com/kettlebellbasics. Have a great one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.